Welcome back to Morning Focus on this wonderful Friday morning, made even more wonderful by all of you joining us. It is 086 1800 964 to send us any messages via text or WhatsApp. You can also give us a call on 0818 400 964. Perhaps you have thoughts or views on anything you're hearing on the show, or there's something else that you would like to highlight. Do let us know. Lots of messages coming in. I'll get to those in just a moment, because I do want to mention our second competition, which of course is Moveless Mornings with Moona Milk. It's another Moveless morning here on Morning Focus. That's all thanks to Moona Milk, celebrating 3 fantastic years of fresh local Clare milk from their Moona vending machines across the county. And to mark the occasion, we have a final amazing prize from Moona Milk to give away. That is a prepaid fob for 20 litres of Moona Milk, 6 reusable bottles and a custom Moona Milk carrier bag. All you need to do is listen in for the clue I'm going to give away in our game called Where is the Moo Cow Today? I'm going to be describing a Clare village or town where Moona have placed their famous Moo Cow sign. If you know the answer, text or WhatsApp is your guess here at Morning Focus, and if you get it right, you could be today's winner. So let's play Moveless Mornings with Moona Milk. Today's clue is it is a spot where you can ferry yourself across the Shannon as easily as grabbing a bottle from the Moona Milk vending machine. So it is a spot where you can ferry yourself across the Shannon as easily as grabbing a bottle from the Moona Milk vending machine. The question is, where in the county are you? Let us know if you think you know the answer to that. 086 1800 964 with the location and your name and where you are from. We'll let you know the winner of that prize later on, as we will for our Off the Rails clothing and accessories on Main Street in Ennistimon competition. We have a final €50 voucher for there to give away. We're asking you what key piece of advice do you have for people to enjoy a stress-free Christmas? Joanne O'Gorman in Lahinch, good morning to you. Joanne says, I just concentrate on one job at a time, shut out the next one until I'm doing it. Also, have nice Christmas music playing while cooking and cleaning, etc., with lots of coffee breaks. Yeah, just to keep the energy levels up, Joanne. Thanks very much for that. One here then is Mary Eustace. Good morning to you, Mary. Regular Morning Focus listener says, good morning, Alan. Happy Christmas to you and all your listeners in Clare FM. Really, all I want for Christmas is being healthy and being able to celebrate Christmas in whatever way is their way, because it's all about being together and being happy. My birthday was yesterday, so Christmas starts for me from there on. It's a blessing to see the grandkids so happy and excited about Grandma's birthday, and it's a time of celebration, but busy. Yes, Mary, happy birthday to you, or belated birthday. Well, I say belated birthday, but I'm going to mention we did wish you a happy birthday, because some of those nearest and dearest to you were in touch in recent days to flag up that it was your birthday. And just on that, we have another one from Mary Bridget and Michael Egan in Spanish Point saying Mary used to celebrating her birthday. A great lady, a great friend. Love and best wishes. Have a good one. So there you go, keeping the birthday spirits going, Mary. And what a lead in, the perfect lead in to Christmas. And thanks very much for listening as well. So your big piece of advice, your key tip for others to enjoy a stress-free Christmas, if you want a chance of grabbing that €50 voucher for Off the Rails clothing and accessories in Ennistimon, 086 1800 964. It's a busy show that we're finishing the week with here on Morning Focus. Later on we'll be hearing from the chairman of Clare GAA, Kieran Keating, and we will be joined by our Friday panel to give us their hot takes on some of these standout stories of the week. But we're kicking off this hour with some fire safety advice for Christmas, because as homes across Clare get ready for Christmas, the county's fire service is urging people to take simple precautions to avoid unnecessary emergencies over the festive period. December tends to be one of the busiest months for fire crews, with call-outs often linked to incidents such as chimney fires, overloaded sockets and unattended candles. Joining me now in studio is Adrian Kelly, Chief Fire Officer with Clare County Fire Service, with some important advice on how to stay fire safe and enjoy a safer Christmas. Adrian, a very good morning to you.
And good morning to you and to your listeners.
And thanks very much for being with us. Plenty to get through. As I mentioned, you're urging people to avoid having a dangerous or upsetting Christmas. Why is December such a busy and risky time for fire crews?
Yeah, I suppose look at December, because people are happier. There's generally a good feeling around the place. People are, I suppose, let down their guard a small bit, and it's not all to do with festivals and not all to do with drink. It's just in general, it's a good time of year. Nothing can go wrong really. Unfortunately, I suppose, and I'm the Grinch here, but we are on call with the Gardaí, with Civil Defence, with the ambulance service, and we see incidents happening every year. This time last year, I suppose, we had 60 incidents that we called between the 20th of December and the 4th of January. And there were a mix of, we had 9 domestic fire incidents, which meant that 9 families had problems over Christmas trying to either relocate or just live in a house that was either smoke damaged or fire damaged. We had 13 road-based incidents again, and I might talk a little bit more about that. That caused 13 families at least, if not 26 families, difficulties over Christmas. So it's not just down to the candles, it's not down to the too many lights in the trees. It's just, I suppose, people tend to let their guard down this time of year.
You mentioned the number of call-outs that you had over the Christmas period last year, Adrian. I mean, is there concern there because that's a rise or a significant increase from 2023? I mean, by comparison, how do those figures look? Yeah,
just on ours, I suppose 2023, when I was here last year, we had 46 incidents in the previous year. So it's gone up
much 25% increase.
Yeah. And that's and it is down to that. Like, if you think about where we're at in life now, we have all modern gadgets that will tell us where we're going, what we're doing, how we're getting on, and we, to have to think about what we're going to do, I suppose, has reduced. So what I would ask people is just, with Christmas cheer, we're all about being nice to people, being happy, being friendly. And one of the pieces that I really believe is that people need to kind of concentrate a small bit more on their surroundings and what they're doing, be it in their own homes, be it on the roads or wherever. Just danger hasn't changed. The risk of something going wrong hasn't changed. And I'd just like people to remember that with all that we do and with all the goodness out there, another piece of goodness is think of yourself and others.
Okay, so let's go through some of the key factors, the key issues that you end up addressing over Christmas. Chimney fires, obviously, a major concern at this time of year. So what are the warning signs people should watch out for, and what should they do, Adrian, if they suspect a chimney fire? Yeah,
so look, the warning signs are you have a big fire on, and you get a roaring sound in the chimney, or you see sparks coming out of the top of the chimney and your neighbour knocks on your door and tells you that. Yeah. They're the two simple ones. What to do, if you can, try to reduce the load in the fireplace. And if you have any concern that it's on fire, bring the fire brigade. Don't worry about if there's a charge or not a charge. Don't worry about any of that sort of stuff, because really money is a small matter here. The bigger thing is to deal with the fire, not have it turn into a house fire, not have further damage and further risk to people.
Yeah, that is far more important. Electrical issues, of course, people. We all have lots of gadgets, and Christmas tends to be a time when you're unwrapping newer gadgets as well. Electrical issues, another common problem over Christmas. So what are the main mistakes, Adrian, people make with, lights, extensions and sockets? Yeah, look, while we see a lot more battery-operated lights, battery-operated ornaments, and LED lights around the place, there's still plenty of older lights out there, and the idea of plugging 6 or 7 plugs into the one socket, no matter what the load is, people aren't going to unravel the cords, and we're going to get heat build up there. We're going to get people, still we have the domestic electricians who'll replace a light bulb with a piece of foil on occasion to make sure that the connection is still going through and the lights still work. So if we get rid of a lot of the domestic electricians that think they're electricians, and leave it to the people that know what they're doing. Please, leave it to the experts.
That in itself would help in some cases, because look, as I say, it's a happy time of year and we want to make the house look well, we want to make ourselves happy, but sometimes we can go a little bit over the top on that.
Okay, we're talking about, I suppose, a lot of modern issues there. Let's talk about a more traditional item that can potentially lead to a serious fire hazard. Candles, which are, of course, very popular at Christmas. What's your key advice to ensure they don't become a serious threat?
Yeah. A couple of things there. If you have candles, have them myself, make sure that they're on a surface that isn't going to catch fire, number one. Number two, that it's nowhere near curtains or any materials that will catch fire off it. And most importantly, that if you leave the room or the house, that the candles are put out.
Okay. The trees themselves then, real Christmas trees still widely used, but how quickly can a dried out tree become dangerous? And where in the home should trees be positioned?
Yeah, where in the home? Look, I'm not going to tell people where to put them, because they put them anywhere. The bigger thing is that trees dry out, as you say, and if you want to Google how quick a Christmas tree will burn, you will see that within maybe 30 seconds of a Christmas tree starting to burn, you won't be able to see where you're going. It's quite
quickly.
Yeah, it is quite, and I'd ask people to do that, just Google it. So in our own case, we have a real Christmas tree. We have the trunk of it inside in a small bucket of water, and the idea being trying to make sure that it stays moist over Christmas, and it does work. But again, you also have to think of where you're putting the Christmas tree. If you're putting it close to something that will heat it up or cause it to catch fire, then you're only asking for trouble.
Keep the candles away from the Christmas tree.
Keep the candles away. Keep it in an area that it's away from everywhere else. But people should probably Google it and ask just Christmas tree fire, and it'll show you how devastating the incident will be.
Okay, smoking materials and chimney fires remain leading causes of fatalities. We've been speaking about advice to help the elderly and vulnerable over Christmas. Are older members of our community particularly at risk, and how can families help reduce that danger?
Yeah, look, the first thing, we have a community fire safety programme going all the year through, where the fire service and our firefighters visit people's houses, put up smoke detectors for them across the county. We try to do it to vulnerable people that don't have other people to help them in general, but we will do it for anybody that has any sort of a concern. But a smoke detector costs maybe 30 or 40 euro. To put it up is putting 2 screws into a ceiling. It's not that complicated, and I've said it every year, it's an ideal Christmas gift if you have an older member of the family, or indeed your own house, that you have smoke detectors up. The last census we had, I was kind of involved in getting a question onto it about the number of smoke alarms in people's houses, and the average across the country is that there's 4% of the houses across the country that don't have smoke detectors. There's another 5 or 6% that didn't answer the question, but if we take 4%, and we have about 40,000 houses in Clare, so 4% of that is 1,600 or 1,700, I think, if I'm right. But that's a lot of houses still that people could put their detectors up. So it's a small thing like that. Other pieces that, as we see now with Storm Owen and pieces like that, a good present to people nowadays is having, battery operated torch and a few other bits and pieces in the house, that if something goes wrong, at least you have a small emergency plan, either to get out, or at least if you have the bits and pieces that you need.
I'm just thinking there, Adrian, as you're taking us through the advice to avoid fires caused in chimneys or through electrical issues or candles and so on, that if out of all those calls you've received in recent years, the 46 over the Christmas period of 2 years ago, the 60 last year, how many of those could have been avoided, and how it wouldn't have been necessary for you to be called out had any of that been heeded?
Yeah, everything is an accident, but humans cause the accidents. So I couldn't tell you how many, but definitely at least half them would have been avoided. And it's a piece, if you don't mind, I'll go back to the road piece at the moment. So in the fire service, in the Gardaí, we would have an informal way of deciding whether an incident is serious or not. So from our point of view, if a person is seriously injured or critically injured or killed, that's a very serious incident. But if we have accidents where there's maybe 2 or 3 cars involved and there are minor injuries, and minor injuries will include fractures and broken bones, cuts and bruises. So we would see a lot of our incidents as being, from our lingo, minor injuries. But every single one of those accidents is a very serious injury or problem to the individual involved. We've seen it in the last number of months on the motorway, and maybe we'll get into it a bit more in 2026. It's driver behaviour is causing the bulk of these, and I would say the bulk, without stating facts, of these incidents. And it's down to people using phones, more gadgets in front of you, not concentrating on the road because you're thinking of the next thing you have to do, texting. All this is happening.
All avoidable.
And the difficulty for the person that's involved in the accident is their car is possibly written off. They have to go to their insurance, sort out that, then their premium is up. That's the smallest thing that can go wrong. If you have an accident with somebody else, you have problems, you could be going to court. If there's an injury or serious accident involved, you could actually be prosecuted. There's lots of follow-ons that people don't think about, and that's not even getting into the fatalities. And I know that that's a bigger piece in itself, but this, as we all know, if you can cut down the small incidents, the big incidents reduce as well. So
very
if
true.
I could ask people, And I can say it straight up, people in the morning time going into Limerick, in the evening time coming out of Limerick, that's where the bulk of our accidents are happening. And the roads haven't changed. Like that, so you have to rule out the road network.
The process of elimination leads you to the drivers.
Yeah. Okay. So the bulk of these accidents are driver behaviour. So if nothing else came out of this interview, if a couple of more people put down the phone, didn't answer it, didn't text, didn't start tapping on their screen looking for the next place to go to on Google Maps or Waze or whatever, that will definitely help reduce the number of incidents on our roads.
Okay, well, look, I think people are getting plenty from that, but also the advice you've given around Christmas. And, of course, many parents and children getting excited ahead of Santa's visit on Christmas Eve. And we've been talking about chimney fires. You definitely you want to avoid those if Santa's going to be coming down your chimney. What fire safety tips would you give, especially around candles, fireplaces, lights, and leaving things switched on overnight on Christmas Eve?
Yeah, we can buy timer plugs to sort out our lights. Candles, definitely. Open fires, definitely. Make sure that they're managed properly, that they're not left alone. With regards to decorations, trees, common sense. If you can find the piece of common sense, and that'll prevail for everything that we do.
Okay, just finally then, Adrian, and I suppose to look ahead to 2026, lots of exciting things happening or planned to happen for the fire service?
Yeah, we probably don't say enough about the good things that the fire service do. We have over 100 staff that are all there for the public to do a great job and keep doing it day in, day out, 24/7, Christmas Day included. A couple of projects that are coming up in the new year. We have approval for a redevelopment in this fire station, and we would hope to go to tender in the new year for design consultants. That'll be, I suppose, a big project. It'll be 2 or 3 years project to try and get it in and out and sort it out. It'd be great for the fire service. It's our last building that we need to tidy up. In the last 18 months, we have taken on about 20 new personnel. That has led to, better crews, more people there, more training, more equipment being provided. In regards to our equipment and vehicles, we are, between Clare County Council and the Department of Environment, we're investing about $2.5 million into the procurement of 2 or 3 new vehicles, new equipment, new fire kit for our firefighters and pieces like that. So there's a lot of good things going on, and the whole, from our side, we're trying to ensure that our firefighters have the best, can give the best service. But I suppose from our listeners' side, it will be just as good as if we didn't have to give that service as often as we do.
Well, we'll give. You've given great advice this morning to ensure, if people take heed of it, that you've less work to do than normal. Adrian, thank you very much, and hopefully a peaceful Christmas for you and all your colleagues, and Happy New Year, and we'll chat to you again in the new year. That's Adrian Kelly, Chief Fire Officer with Clare County Fire Service, with us on Morning Focus.